This is New York Nightly News with Chuck Scarborough, live on New York Nonstop.
Now with the space shuttles on the verge of retiring to the new roles as museum pieces here and across the country, what is the future of manned spaceflight and NASA? Here to talk about that is Dave Brody. He is the senior space writer for Space.com. Dave, welcome.
Hey, Chuck, how are you? Happy space anniversary.
Well, thank you very much. Trekkies are going to be happy about this. We've got the Enterprise.
We do. We have the Enterprise. As you mentioned in the package, didn't actually fly in space, but it was a test article. So I guess the big question is what happens next, right?
Oh, it is, yeah. What happens next? Sure, but first of all, before we get off the Enterprise, is this sort of a consolation prize for us? Would you be happier if we had a shuttle that had actually flown?
I guess, as a New Yorker, absolutely. We want the real deal. We don't want the thing that didn't go in space, but I think it's totally fine. Now, kids will be able to see, get in the cockpit, understand what it was like when we had this marvelous shuttle
Is it equipped
vehicle.
just like the other shuttles that actually did fly?
Pretty much. It has not been brought up to date, and of course the shuttle program is 30 years old, so there have been a lot of improvements in the flight-qualified vehicles that are going to other places. But
so in a way, it's kind of a neat little glimpse at history, and it's not a used car.
It is not a used car.
So, was the administration's decision to basically shut down manned spaceflight and turn it over to private enterprise the right decision?
You're asking for an opinion, and you know, we in Space.com don't have the luxury of giving that, but I'll give you my personal one.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it was the right decision, but I would take a little exception with your saying the decision to shut down spaceflight. I think it's actually the opposite. Spaceflight will now be incented and will probably do a better job of getting us off this little rock than we were able to do under the shuttle program because of the way the shuttle program was run and managed. It was run essentially as a jobs program, and now we're engaging the private enterprise as a commercial engine. So, you know, if it works the way other industries have in this country, the aviation industry is a good example, then we should actually go further, faster, cheaper.
So this became just too expensive.
Did become too expensive to do it this particular way, and it was actually President Bush who canceled the shuttle. What President Obama did was to cancel the follow-on to the shuttle, the Constellation program.
That's right.
That was going to be run in the same basic mode.
So what is your prediction for the future now?
I would hope to see the private enterprise competing with each other to do really cool stuff in space. I think this is not by any means NASA retiring. NASA now has an incredible role to play in explaining and exploring the universe, what they should have been doing all along.
Well, can private enterprise take us to Mars? I mean, that was the goal of the shuttle program initially, to launch us all the way to Mars eventually.
Well, it couldn't have gone on a specific shuttle, and had that in fact been the goal, we would be there now. But the goal was to put a whole bunch of people going to work, and then eventually to build a space station. We will use the space station to learn what we need to do long-duration space flight and go to Mars. But yes, I think it's entirely possible that private enterprise could get us to Mars. It's a question of having the national will to say, we're going to go, and who's going to get us there at a fixed price, not a cost-plus contract. You know, New York style, if I'm a contractor and I can make the job take longer and therefore get paid more, that's what I'm going to do. That's how the shuttle program has been managed, and it can't run that way anymore. We simply don't have the money.
Was there any life left in these shuttles when they retired them? Could they have been sold off to private enterprise and reused?
Oh, I think so. They're beautiful vehicles. The trouble is all of the support systems to actually make them fly based on 30-year-old technology. It's time to do something new, and you know, we get a clean start at this point. It's a good time. It's a time of change in our budget process generally. Let's do the brave thing and go for it. Let's boldly go where we've never gone before.
All right, Dave Brody, thanks for coming in.
My pleasure, Chuck.